Noah. Noah, it's so exciting to talk to you. Yeah. We have an event coming up. Maybe you want to talk about it.
Yeah, June 2nd, we have the If They Only Knew dinner party at Cadre Restaurant here in Madison. It's going to be a really fun event. We'll have live music, live poetry. I'm sure we'll have some works of art displayed from the Shallot, as well as a full menu inspired by recipes submitted in the Shallot as well. So it's going to be a really incredible event.
Well, this was your brainchild.
Yeah.
So maybe talk a little bit about what you hope people experience.
Yeah, I really want it to be an immersive dinner party. I want it to be fun, and I want people to be interacting with the art that we see on the page in the Shallot. So yeah, it's going to be really immersive. I want people to be listening to poetry that is displayed in the Shallot or by poets that are featured in the Shallot. And I want you to see the different recipes in front of you and for you to taste them firsthand and see all the thought and hear the stories, right? We just listened to podcasts by Evan and Colton and heard the story behind what they put into the Shallot. And there's so much meaningful story, and often I don't think we get that when we go to a restaurant. So it's going to be a really special event and really intimate, I think, too.
So maybe talk a minute about Dane County Food Collective, and how do you see that Dane County Food Collective and sort of the idea you had when you first thought about putting together a zine or a magazine before we collaborated? What were you all thinking, and why did you want to do that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what I was just talking about. There's this lack of discussion between what happens in the kitchen and in the restaurant and the general public. And I think the pandemic was a really clear example of like people not understanding everything that a restaurant and its workers go through to bring food to your plate. And I think the zine the original idea was this really grassroots way of creating dialogue between the artists and creators and the public to have those discussions in a creative way. And I think what's beautiful about our collaboration with the Shallot is it provides exactly that, a platform for artists to showcase their work and a space that we can foster these dialogues with the public about what's really going on here and what does it take to bring food to your plate.
And actually, it seems to me that this was just step one, that dinner is really the second part, to have the dialogue going back and forth.
Yeah.
And as you think about that, are there ways we're going to incorporate those that are at the dinner to kind of maybe give us some inspiration for future Shallots or future collaborative efforts? Yeah,
I love that idea. And actually, in the podcast, we talked a little bit about the mosaic dinners as well. And I think what's been really beautiful about those dinners is the interaction, right? For my dinners, I've done a lot of music and poetry interspersed throughout the dinner, but obviously everyone at the table brings their story to the dinner as well. And so, I mean, I haven't necessarily thought about it for June 2nd, but I think there's a lot of ways we can foster that interaction and have that dialogue actually be a dialogue, right? That's back and forth rather than just a discussion that's sort of brought to the public.
That's something I've thought about. I do this. I host on Christmas Eve a soup exchange. And the whole reason I did it were for people who didn't really have a place to go. And there's always new people coming who don't know the other folks. But I think it would be good to do more of a dialogue because I think it's an opportunity for people to share in a very different format.
Yeah, and I think it's really common for these sort of dinners, at least the ones that I do, right? My experience comes from REAP Food Group, where we're really focused on how do we connect consumers to producers locally here. And so when we do an event, we're really trying to tell that story of how the food got to their plate and who are the people making their food. And I think, traditionally, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with this, but I think it has been sort of a story told to the attendees of the dinner. And I think what we're starting to work with a little more is how are the people attending the dinner a part of this discussion, and where does their role in the food system play to making sure that the workers, the farmers, the people who bring the food to their plate are cared for and really building that holistic community as opposed to seeing it as two sides of a coin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited for the event.
Yeah, me too.
I think it'll be great, and I actually just can't wait because it'll be so immersive with both the food, the smells, all of it. Then listening to poetry, listening to music. I like the idea of stories being told. I think it'll be great.
Great, me too. Yeah, get your tickets. I mean, there's only 40 tickets available. We've got a few weeks here until the event, so buy them before they're gone.
All right, cool.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, sweet.